welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going to unpack a really unique set of sources.
Yeah, this one is fascinating.
It really is. We're focusing on a celebration, but one that was so meticulously documented and, described. I'm talking about Regina Carter's 27th birthday voyage.
Mm-hmm.
And this is so much more than just a collection of vacation photos. It really feels like a masterclass in aesthetic curation.
That's the perfect way to put it.
So our mission today is to move past that surface level spectacle, the beautiful pictures, and really dissect the entire carefully constructed narrative that's being presented.
That's absolutely right. Our deep dive is really focused on the source material itself. We're going to be analyzing the language, the specific details they chose to highlight, and crucially, what I think is the emotional core of it all.
The relationship dynamics.
The relationship dynamic. Exactly, that mother-daughter bond. So we're essentially decoding the ultimate vision that was presented to the public, and in doing so, we're kind of seeing the new standard for what it means to be a birthday queen or an IT girl in this digital age.
And we have some amazing nuggets to work with here. I mean, they really tell a story. We're talking about fashion choices that the sources literally say scream royalty.
Right.
Then you have these high-performance water vehicles that, and this is a direct quote, look like actual sports cars floating on the water.
Which is just an incredible image.
Incredible. And all of this is anchored by this really beautiful, heartwarming emphasis on the mother-daughter connection, which is all sort of crystallized by Toya Johnson calling Reginae the girl who made her a mother first.
Mm-hmm. It's such a specific, powerful line.
It is. It's this calculated blend of, high-end spectacle on one hand and genuine, relatable feeling on the other.
And that blend is exactly where our analysis becomes so important. For you, the listener, I mean, whether you're planning your own big event or maybe you work in branding or you're just really curious about how public figures craft their image, the specifics here offer some profound insight.
Yeah, into that whole world of intentional aesthetic design.
Totally. We can't stress this enough. Every single choice, from the specific cut of a dress to the contrasting colors of the water vehicles, it's all a deliberate signal within this one big cohesive narrative.
Okay, so let's unpack this and jump right in. Section 1, establishing the vibe and persona. Because before we even get to the outfits or the thrill rides, the sources work really hard to establish a mood, a status, and frankly, a massive expectation for this event.
They absolutely do. And they do it by making a core assertion right at the top. The claim is that Regina Carter rang in her 27th year in the fiercest way possible.
Fiercest. That one word is doing a ton of heavy lifting, isn't it?
A ton. It instantly tells you this is not some quiet, reflective milestone. It's energetic, it's dynamic, assertive, and just undeniably bold. It's a transition into a new year that is all about power.
Okay, so I want to spend a moment on the specific descriptors they assign to Reginae, because they feel so layered and so carefully chosen. She's not just the star of the show.
Yeah.
She is immediately crowned the ultimate IT girl. She looks like a whole goddess on the ocean, and she is definitively the birthday queen. If we break that down, how do those three distinct titles work together to set this tripartite expectation for the entire voyage?
It's a great question because they establish a kind of hierarchy of celebration that touches on three completely different cultural dimensions. You've got contemporary influence, you've got mythological beauty, and then you have timeless status.
Okay, so let's start with Ultimate IT Girl.
Ultimate IT Girl is the contemporary status marker. That signals influence, leadership and style, and most importantly, digital relevance. In the 21st century, being the IT girl means you are the aspirational standard for your peer group. You set the trends.
It's a kind of currency that's based on cultural relevance,
Yeah.
right? But then the language just shifts immediately to something, I don't know, more ancient and powerful, goddess on the ocean.
Exactly. Goddess on the Ocean does two things. It anchors that contemporary status to the location, the voyage itself, and then it assigns her this ethereal, almost mythic quality. It connects her to timeless ideas of beauty, power, and a kind of high status that seems to, transcend the mere celebrity of an IT girl.
So it elevates the spectacle.
It elevates it to something monumental. She's not just famous in this moment, she is magnificent for all time.
And then finally, we have the most traditional title of all, the birthday queen.
And that's the essential, non-negotiable status for the day. That's the foundation. So you put those three titles together, IT girl for relevance, goddess for mythic beauty, and queen for timeless status, and they fuse modern, achievable, aspirational goals with classic untouchable royalty and physical perfection.
Wow.
It's arguably the highest status triad you can achieve in a celebratory public context, and the documentation makes sure you understand that this is the baseline mood. This is where we are starting from.
That fusion you mentioned, the ability to be both relevant and timeless, that feels so key to the whole curated image. But let me push back a little on this. When you're given 3 titles that are this elevated, does the expectation for perfection become so high that it risks making the whole thing feel a little sterile?
Yeah.
Or, unrelatable?
That is a fascinating question, and it really speaks to the delicate balance you have to strike in celebrity branding. I think if the entire event was just goddess and queen, it might feel cold or distant.
Right, a bit untouchable.
Exactly, but the sources, they mitigate this risk by immediately injecting that emotional anchor we talked about. My analysis of these titles is that they reinforce the celebratory status while signaling a high degree of emotional well-being. The text makes it very clear that this status is accompanied by happiness, by love, and an undeniable glow.
Ah, okay.
So it's aspirational perfection. You're meant to look at the celebration as the ultimate synthesis of success, beauty, and love.
And that perfect synthesis brings us directly to our next point, which is 1.2, the mother-daughter anchor.
Yeah.
It's all about Toya Johnson's critical role. Because right after the sources establish this high, almost unattainable status of goddess and queen, they ground the whole spectacle in something intensely personal and, profoundly relatable.
That grounding is absolutely crucial for the narrative's success. Highlighting the importance of her mother, Toya Johnson, being a central featured figure, it ensures the event is seen as both intensely luxurious and deeply personal and familial. Luxury without love, as we were just saying, can feel empty or just boastful. By spotlighting the love, the luxury is reframed as a celebration of that love and their shared success.
And the sources don't just, like you mentioned, Toya was there in passing. They really lean into the dynamic. They describe their time together not just as a joint vacation, but as mother-daughter fun. And they use that really potent phrase, a tropical vacation with your bestie, who also happens to be your mom.
The term bestie there is just a brilliant piece of language.
Why that word specifically?
Because it immediately implies parity, shared fun, and mutual enjoyment. It moves away from a traditional sort of hierarchical parent-child dynamic. It suggests a friendship that transcends the generational barrier, which makes the bond incredibly desirable and relatable to a huge audience who might also aspire to have that kind of relationship with their own parents or kids. This isn't mom just, observing from the sidelines.
She's in on the action.
She is participating as an equal partner in the fun, which makes the whole bond feel really contemporary and active.
The sources are definitely careful to establish that Toya is an active, stylistic complement to her daughter. But the emotional weight, the moment that really anchors this whole section, comes from analyzing Toya Johnson's Swedish shout-out. It's a very specific, almost historical claim she makes.
Yes. She calls Reginae the girl who made her a mother first.
That phrase, it feels so profound.
It is a profound emotional detail. It acts as the origin story for their bond, and it gives the entire event roots and history. By focusing on that foundational relationship, that very moment Toya achieved motherhood, the celebration is reframed. It's not just about Reginae's current success and glamour.
It's about something deeper.
It's about a long-standing, beautiful relationship that's rooted in Toya's most profound personal transformation.
So it defines that central theme of mother-daughter goals by emphasizing this primary devotion. So when the audience reads that, quote, all the luxury items, the voyage, the clothes, the exotic location, they're all presented as a manifestation of this deep-seated primary love.
That's the goal.
But does the documentation actually succeed in making that love feel genuine? Or is it just, presented as another necessary accessory to the luxury?
I think the documentation threads that needle really successfully, and it's because of the specificity. If the quote had just been, I love my daughter, it would feel generic.
Sure.
But by emphasizing the girl who made her a mother first, it touches on transformation and legacy, which are such powerful, grounding themes. This specific detail provides the necessary narrative depth, ensuring that the audience accepts the emotional sincerity right alongside the spectacular material success.
So the vibe is set.
The vibe is set, high status, undeniable glamour, but all of it is intentionally grounded in deep, personal, familial happiness.
That familial grounding serves as the perfect launch pad for the visual spectacle that's to come. We've established the goddess and the queen status, so now, okay, the fashion has to deliver. Let's transition into section 2. Analyzing the aesthetics of royalty and glamour.
Right. And the fashion is where that narrative we just talked about, the one established by the titles, becomes visually tangible. The looks can't just be attractive, they have to be visually symbolic. They have to support those elevated titles of queen and goddess.
Okay, so let's dive into 2.1, the signature birthday look, the cutout goddess dress. The sources really emphasize that she absolutely slayed in this moment. We need to break down every single descriptive element they give us and focus on how these details construct that image of royalty.
Okay, so we have three key descriptive details for her attire. First, it was an intricate bronze cutout dress. Second, it featured prominent gold hardware. And third, it incorporated these visually striking flowing skirt pieces.
The level of detail there is not accidental.
Not at all. It suggests the fashion was pre-visualized and intentionally designed for maximum visual and symbolic impact.
Let's start with the colors. Bronze and gold. Why are these like non-negotiable status colors in this kind of context? And why is that specific phrasing that this look screams royalty so apt?
Bronze and gold immediately transcend simple fashion, and they enter the realm of universal symbolism. They are colors associated with ancient royalty, with enduring wealth, permanence, and, victory.
Right.
Bronze specifically evokes sculpture, mythology, the idea of a timeless artifact, which immediately supports that goddess claim. Gold, of course, is the ultimate signifier of wealth. So by using them together in this intricate design, the fashion piece is instantly categorized as more than just clothing. It's symbolic regalia.
And the inclusion of gold hardware, that detail, seems particularly intentional. Hardware usually implies structure, mechanism, something permanent.
It does. Hardware, especially when you apply it to formal wear, signals structural integrity and value. It's often reminiscent of armor or historical chains or, ceremonial regalia. It injects a sense of strength and durability into what is otherwise an ethereal dress.
So you had this contrast.
You have this perfect contrast. The vulnerability of the cutout dress paired with the strength of the metallic hardware that perfectly captures the modern IT girl identity.
Right.
It's powerful, yet it's still aesthetically accessible. The hardware confirms she is not just wearing a pretty dress, she is wearing her crown, figuratively speaking.
So the cutout style keeps it modern and youthful. That's the IT girl part.
Mm-hmm.
While the bronze and gold colors in the hardware provide the necessary historical weight and luxurious association to fully justify that screams royalty descriptor. It's like the visual vocabulary of a modern monarch on a tropical holiday.
Precisely. And we can't overlook the final details the source gives us. The hair was flowing and the glam was flawless. These are essential for the overall goddess image. Flowing hair connects her to the water, to nature, while flawless glam ensures there are absolutely no imperfections in the execution of this royal persona. The presentation is complete, it's polished, it's untouchable, and it's ready to be memorialized as a historical fashion moment.
Okay, so now we move to 2.2, where we see this really intentional cohesion between the two looks. Toya Johnson's aesthetic choices, they support the main narrative without ever competing with it. The source says she was right by her side, matching the vibe.
Right, and there's a sophisticated design brief at work here. Toya Johnson's specific outfit is described as a gorgeous cowl neck dress with long studded fringe. So it's sophisticated, it's clearly elegant and expensive, but notice how it's stylistically distinct from Reginae's heavily structured metallic hardware look.
It signals support.
It signals support without stealing focus.
Let's analyze that contrast in the materials and the movement. Reginae's bronze and gold look emphasizes structure, reflection. It establishes her as the static, visually dominant queen. Toya, on the other hand, she chose a soft cowl neck, which suggests ease, fluidity, approachability, and then paired it with that long, studded fringe.
The fringe is a brilliant choice for dynamic photography, especially in a tropical setting.
How so?
Well, fringe captures light and movement. It visually emphasizes motion and life, which makes the look feel very lively but still sophisticated. It fulfills the beach glam requirement by being less structured than Reginae's metallic look. But the studded element that ensures it retains that high-end detail.
Ah, so it's complementary.
It's complementary to the gold hardware, but visually secondary.
So what we have is the structured, static queen image versus the fluid, sophisticated, supportive matriarch. The color choice is likely played into this too. Toya's was not specified as metallic, so it suggests maybe a deeper, richer color.
Exactly. Her sophistication is conveyed through movement and a slightly more understated texture, which is so appropriate for the supportive role of a mother celebrating her daughter. Both looks successfully meet the luxury and beach glam requirement, but they communicate entirely different positions within the celebratory hierarchy. It's a beautifully subtle piece of aesthetic design.
So as we wrap up this section in 2.3, we're really just reiterating the importance of context. These were not random outfits thrown on for a vacation. They were major fashion moments, central to the documentation of the voyage.
And that reinforces our core thesis. The fashion was a central planned component of the celebration narrative. It wasn't an afterthought. The entire narrative of royalty and glamour required these specific high-status looks to be documented and then shared. They're narrative tools.
And the source material encourages the listener, you, to engage with this fashion choice directly. It asks us to compare. Which look was your favorite, the cutout goddess look or the bikini with the jet car?
Yeah.
So it frames the fashion as central to the entire story being told. It offers the audience two distinct aesthetic poles. You've got static elegance versus dynamic action, and asks you to choose, which in itself demonstrates the versatility of the IT Girl brand.
And the audience is invited to participate in judging the style, which cements the importance of fashion as a defining element of the whole spectacle. It's a clever way of ensuring the public discussion remains focused on these visual status markers.
Okay, so we've established the elegance, the glamour, the familial bond. Now we have to move into the high-octane phase. Let's transition to Section 3. The high-octane element, transportation, and thrill. This is where that fiercest way possible description gets fulfilled.
This is a real pivot point in the narrative. We shift from static posing and structured elegance to dynamic activity. They weren't just posing on the shore, right? They were riding the waves in style. And the mode of action has to match the level of luxury established by the wardrobe.
And this is where we introduce the critical source detail, the jet cars. The description of these vehicles is so incredibly specific, and that specificity is crucial.
The source emphatically states they look like actual sports cars floating on the water, and that is a deeply powerful and intentional descriptive choice. It does two things instantly.
What are they?
First, it links the event to the performance, the status, the exclusivity we associate with high-end land-based sports cars. Think Ferrari speed, sleek design, and it just transfers that entire aesthetic directly onto the water.
It's a perfect synthesis of two different luxury categories, isn't it? It's not just a practical watercraft. It is a mobile, high-performance status symbol that's been adapted for the ocean. It confirms that the luxury of this voyage extends even to their recreational vehicles. It achieves what we would call aesthetic continuity.
Aesthetic continuity is the exact term. A standard personal watercraft, no matter how expensive, it just would not have been sufficient to maintain that IT girl and queen status. The celebratory aesthetic demands something that visually and conceptual mirrors the sleekness, the power, and the high-status design associated with land royalty.
So this choice ensures that the narrative of high luxury remains unbroken, even during moments of thrill and fun.
Completely unbroken.
So the jet cars communicate not just that they're having fun, but that they're having fun at the highest possible aesthetic level. They're driving the equivalent of water sports cars.
Precisely. And it communicates exclusivity. These are not common recreational items. They are specialized, high-design vehicles. This detail demonstrates a real commitment to providing an experience that is rare and visually spectacular, specifically for documentation purposes. It just reinforces the idea that every single aspect of this voyage is curated for maximum impact.
Okay, let's move into 3.2, which is, I think, maybe the most fascinating piece of intentional aesthetic design in this whole section. The distinct colors they chose for the mother and daughter. This detail just solidifies their narrative roles during the action phase.
Yeah, we have this bold, almost jarring contrast here, and it serves a very distinct purpose. Reginae is behind the wheel of a bright neon green jet car.
Neon green.
And Toya is cruising in a sleek maroon model.
Why neon green for the celebrant? I mean, neon colors are inherently demanding of our attention.
Neon green is the visual shorthand for immediate, high-visibility energy. It is bold, it's energetic, contemporary, and it's completely impossible to ignore in photographs against the blue of the water. It aligns perfectly with Reginae's persona as the birthday queen and IT girl who is ringing in her ear in the fiercest way possible.
It's an assertive color.
It's an assertive, fun, and unmistakable choice that demands focus and reinforces the theme of high-octane celebration. It's the color of adrenaline and central focus.
So if the bronze dress represented the static, timeless royalty, the neon green jet car represents the dynamic, contemporary, attention-demanding status of the IT girl. It's a kinetic color.
Absolutely. The color choice ensures that your eye immediately goes to the celebrant during the action sequence. It maintains her visual dominance. Now, you contrast that with Toya's choice of the sleek maroon.
Maroon feels far more sophisticated, restrained, rich. It's a power color, but a quiet one.
That's a great way to put it. Maroon is deep, it's rich, it's often associated with established luxury, like the color of traditional velvet or fine leather, but in a much more subtle, elegant way than explosive neon. Sleek maroon perfectly illustrates Toya's supportive yet high-status role in the narrative.
So she maintains the luxury.
She maintains the overall luxury status. She's also riding a high-end vehicle, but the color choice is restrained. It doesn't compete for the viewer's primary attention. It allows Reginae's neon green to dominate the action shot, which is completely appropriate for the celebrant.
This is such a beautiful illustration of visual role designation. The color coding ensures that the narrative roles they establish through the static fashion in Section 2 are completely maintained during the dynamic high-speed action of Section 3.
It just speaks to the consistent intentionality of the entire event. Everything is calculated to support the narrative that Reginae is the queen, and Toya is the highly sophisticated supportive anchor. Even the choice of water sport color is part of the overall aesthetic narrative.
And in 3.3, we look at the function of this high-octane fun itself. The sources stress that they were laughing, posing, living their best lives, actively bonding.
And this is the moment where the sources prove that the luxury isn't just passive display, it's active enjoyment. This combination, extreme luxury from the custom vehicles paired with extreme thrill from the high-performance action, defines the specific type of celebration being promoted. It successfully balances the static elegance we discussed earlier with adrenaline-fueled dynamic activity.
How does that specific balance, elegance, and adrenaline define the image of success that's being promoted here?
It presents a holistic image of contemporary success, it says. We can afford relaxation, we can afford classic, timeless luxury, and we are confident and dynamic enough to embrace speed, adventure, and visible fun. It's success that is both beautiful and active.
And the fact that they're doing it together, that the mother-daughter fun extends into the high adrenaline arena, that feels crucial.
Oh, it powerfully reinforces that bestie element of their bond. The visual message is that this relationship is strong enough to handle both the glamour of the goddess dress and the G-force of the water sports car. It elevates the event from just a mere exhibition of wealth to a documentation of shared quality, high-energy memory creation.
So the jet cars are tools.
The jet cars, as these high-end fun objects, are the perfect means to demonstrate that this relationship is dynamic, fun, and built on shared experiences.
Okay, we have thoroughly broken down the style symbolism, the emotional sentiment, and the speed aesthetic. Now let's pull back a bit, move into our last section, Section 4. Broader implications and the narrative of celebration. We can analyze what this entire highly curated event communicates on a larger scale.
Right. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the entire voyage is a comprehensive, highly curated image presentation. It is explicitly designed to communicate happiness, overwhelming success, and powerful influence. We really can't overstate the intentionality. Every specific detail contributes to this overarching narrative, from the bronze hardware supporting the queen status to the specific color contrast of the water vehicles maintaining their narrative roles.
So in 4.1, let's try to reverse engineer the ultimate celebration formula. Based only on the meticulous details provided in these sources, what does the documentation suggest is necessary for an ultimate 27th birthday celebration in this high-profile context?
Based solely on the elements that were documented and highlighted, the formula is actually pretty rigid. The sources suggest there are 4 required domains that have to be achieved and then, visually documented.
Okay, what's the first one?
Number 1 is location. It has to be a tropical location that supports the theme of a grand voyage, which implies journey, escape, and exclusivity.
Okay, that makes sense. Number 2.
2 is aesthetic and fashion. You need luxurious and symbolic fashion that grants explicit royalty status. So that's your bronze, your gold, your hardware.
Right, the regalia. Number 3.
Number 3 is the emotional anchor. A publicly celebrated, meaningful family bond. Specifically here, emphasizing the mother-daughter goals with some kind of historical context.
And finally, the 4th element.
And 4th is action and thrill. High adrenaline, high-performance activity. Specifically, the customized water vehicle that visually mimics a land sports car, which ensures that aesthetic continuity we talked about.
That is a very specific, and I would say demanding, blueprint. It's interesting that the narrative requires a balance across these different domains: aesthetic, emotional, and action-oriented. But what does this formula tell us about the pressures facing celebrities when they're documenting their milestones?
Well, it tells us that simple luxury is no longer enough. The pressure now is to achieve this difficult duality. The event must be both demonstrably unattainable, that's the queen goddess element, and instantly relatable, which is the best imam element.
So it's walking a tightrope.
A total tightrope. This formula ensures there are multiple touch points for audience engagement, whether they aspire to the bronze dress or the neon jet car or the strong mother-daughter bond. The celebration becomes a competitive benchmark, a highly stylized piece of content designed to solidify the celebrity's brand in all key areas at the same time.
Which brings us to 4.2, where we can discuss the critical interplay of fashion and activity. The source has highlighted this by asking the audience to choose a favorite look. So you have the static goddess pose in the flowing bronze dress versus the dynamic action shot in the bikini on the neon green jet car.
And these two images, they serve fundamentally different narrative purposes, and the source material really forces the audience to reconcile them. The static goddess look establishes high status, wealth, and timeless elegance. It's a moment of untouchable photographic perfection. It says, I'm the queen.
And the dynamic action shot, what does that say?
The bikini with the jet car shot establishes a completely different kind of success. It's about adventurous spirit, authentic happiness, dynamic energy. It's a less formal, more kinetic moment of genuine connection and thrill. That one says, I am the fun, relevant IT girl.
So the ability to switch seamlessly between those two poles, that's the key measure of success in this specific aesthetic narrative.
It has to be.
By asking the reader to choose between these two highly stylized poles, the sources are suggesting that both narratives, the untouchable elegance and the accessible, dynamic fun, are equally vital and necessary to form the complete aspirational image of the ultimate IT girl.
The comprehensive persona requires this duality. She's not merely beautiful, she's adventurous. She's not just rich, she is grounded by love. She's not just static elegance, she is dynamic fun. The entire documentation is a testimony to the successful execution of this complex dual-status branding.
So we've taken these sources, which on the surface are about a celebrity birthday, and we've unpacked this sheer density of intentional detail, moving far beyond simple party coverage. We look past the surface to see the symbolic fashion choices, the clear definition of mother-daughter goals, and that specific aesthetic of high-speed luxury with the neon green and maroon jet cars.
What's so fascinating here is the sophisticated way a powerful celebratory narrative is built using these specific, highly visual elements. We saw how abstract descriptors like royalty and goddess get translated into tangible details like gold hardware and bronze fabric, and how the role of the supportive mother is so clearly defined by the choice of a sleek maroon vehicle that refuses to compete with the celebrant's bold neon green. The whole thing is a testament to the power of a curated image.
And that brings us to our final thought for you, the listener. We know Reginae is welcomed into her 27th year looking incredible, happy, and unequivocally loved. But given the extreme attention paid to every single detail, from the subtle movement of the fringe on Toya's dress to the choice of vehicles that synthesize land and water luxury, what specific detail in the sources do you think was the single most powerful, most effective element in conveying that message of royalty and status?
Was the most powerful message contained in the historical weight and permanence symbolized by the bronze and gold hardware on the cutout dress, which immediately signaled untouchable status? Or was it maybe the high-performance jet cars, which merged high-status land luxury with high-octane fun, signaling contemporary relevance and exclusivity? Think about which detail provided the most immediate, unmistakable, and aspirational message of true status.
Something for you to mull over as you consider the power and complexity of intentional aesthetic design. Thank you for diving deep with us today.